Netanyahu faces Traoré's ultimatum. Global power shift unfolds Jerusalem skylines, with headlines flashing about Burkina Faso and Israel. At 6:47 a.m. Jerusalem time, a single-page statement landed like a thunderbolt, signed by Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and stamped with the seal of his transitional government. It wasn't a request, it was a demand. 274 words that sent shockwaves from Tel Aviv to the heart of West Africa. Within hours, emergency meetings were called, intelligence briefings scrambled, and Israeli media went silent. But across Africa, the press erupted. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and like this video if eerie mysteries and haunted tales are your thing. Comment below where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Cut to footage of African news channels, social media posts, and protests. This wasn't just politics, it was personal. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he's standing on the wrong side of a line drawn in the sand by a 37-year-old revolutionary. Transition to archival footage of Traoré speaking at a podium. Let's rewind. 4 days ago, leaked reports from a Nairobi summit exposed a covert operation allegedly tied to Israeli diplomats and private contractors. Codenamed New Frontier, its goal? Reshape West African alliances, secure resource access, and curb the growing influence of one man, Ibrahim Traoré. Buried in the leaks was a phrase that set a continent ablaze. Traoré's rise must be neutralized before Q4. A blurred document with New Frontier highlighted, followed by audio static of a leaked diplomatic message. Traoré didn't wait. On Burkina Faso's state broadcast, he stood alone. No advisors, no script, just a leader addressing the world. His words? Africa is not a chessboard, and I am not your piece. Then came the notice. A 30-day ultimatum to Israel. Cease all covert activities, withdraw military advisors, and shut down shell companies in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Guinea. Non-compliance? Traoré threatened a diplomatic push to close Israeli embassies across 14 African nations. Map of Africa highlighting the mentioned countries with a ticking clock overlay. This wasn't posturing, it was a shot across the bow. In Tel Aviv, Netanyahu's war cabinet split. Some dismissed Traoré as a fleeting headline. Others saw the danger. South Africa, Senegal, and Nigeria voiced support for Traoré's stand against foreign interference. Montage: protests in Accra, Addis Ababa, and Lagos with signs reading, "Africa won't be moved," and "Traoré speaks, we listen." From the streets to the African Union, the response was electric. A 12-page report titled "Shadow Investments: How Sovereignty Was Sold" detailed alleged financial manipulation by foreign firms linked to Israel. It shook the room. AU meeting footage, documents being passed, and serious expressions. Western diplomats downplayed the notice, but a leaked Mossad analysis didn't. It called Traoré the most dangerous non-aligned leader of the decade. Why? Not because of weapons, but because of his power to rally a continent. Cut to clips of Traoré meeting with youth groups, juxtaposed with historical footage of Thomas Sankara. For decades, African leaders were expected to nod, smile, and sign deals without question. Traoré flipped the script. At 37, he's not asking for permission, he's demanding respect. His policies, from nationalizing gold mines to expelling French troops, echo a broader push for African sovereignty. Burkina Faso's gold mines, Russian flags, and Traoré shaking hands with non-Western leaders. But here's the catch. Some of Traoré's boldest moments, like a viral anti-West speech, have been flagged as AI-generated, raising questions about misinformation. On-screen text, AFP fact-check, June 2025. Yet his real actions, like forging the alliance of Sahel states with Mali and Niger, speak louder. Alliance of Sahel states logo, with Russian and Chinese flags fading in. In Europe, France and the EU called for dialogue and restraint, but their unease is clear. If Traoré's notice gains traction, other African leaders might follow. Nigeria is already cracking down on pro-Traoré rallies, fearing his influence. Cut to protests in Nigeria, with police presence. Back in Israel, Netanyahu's team issued a brief response. The prime minister is reviewing the notice. But analysts call this a reckoning. Traoré's not just challenging Israel, he's challenging a world order that's long treated Africa as a pawn. Netanyahu in a meeting and Traoré addressing a crowd. What happens next? Embassies are auditing contracts. African nations are scrutinizing deals. Youth movements are demanding accountability. This isn't about war, it's about dignity. A refusal to let history repeat. Traoré's face, then a pan to an African flag waving. Will Netanyahu back down? Can Traoré's notice reshape global alliances? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you support this push for African independence, or is it a risky gamble? Hit that like button if you believe Africa deserves to chart its own future, without pressure, without silence. Subscribe for more stories the world needs to hear. This isn't just news, it's history in motion.